everybody, so welcome to the second installment of the sight singing series. In the first installment I introduced the concept of sight singing with movable do and how do in the scale do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do is like your home base, and if you know what do is in a song, then you know how all the other notes sound in relation to it. And the way you find do in a piece of music is by finding out the key signature, what key the song is in. So that's what we're going to go over today. So without further ado, we will begin. So when you look for a key signature in a piece of music, just go to the beginning of the piece and find the clef. And I'm using treble clef for the sake of example. This applies also in bass clef. The sharps and flats are in different places, but the counting technique that you can use to figure out what key a song is in is the same. So just for the purpose of familiarity, I'm using the treble clef. So when you find the clef, like I said, you look for the number of sharps or flats next to the clef, and that'll tell you what key the song is in. So the most basic key is the key of C major. There are no sharps or flats next to the clef. Now this means when you're playing on the piano, you play all of the white keys. You don't touch any of the black keys, you're just playing on the white keys when you play in C major. Because the sharps and flats that you see here mean that you're playing on black keys instead of on white keys. So we'll start with keys that have sharps that indicate them. So if you have one sharp, you're in the key of G major. So G is here on the staff. So G is do, A is re, B is mi, C is fa, D is sol, E is la, F sharp is T, and G up here is do. And the reason why F sharp is T instead of F is because the F line is sharped. Now if you were to play, if an F were written in this space, the F space, you would also play a sharp. So anytime there's an F that's played, if the song is in the key of G, you always play it F sharp. Now if you have two sharps, you're in the key of D. So if we started at a low D, if we started at a low D, which is here, D is do, E is re, F sharp is mi, because F is sharped, G is fa, A is sol, B is la, C sharp is T, and D is do. So then if you have three sharps, you're in the key of A is do. If you have four sharps, you're in the key of E is do. If you have five sharps, you're in the key of B is do. If you have six sharps, you're in the key of F sharp major, because F sharp is do. The F is sharped. The F is sharped. So as you can see from my little illustration here, every time you move up a key, the position of the sharps in the previous keys don't change. For example, we went from, in going from G to D, you still had this F sharp, you just added the C sharp. And then in going to A, you still had the F sharp and the C sharp, but you added the G sharp. So that's how you find keys for sharps. And there's a handy mnemonic that you can use when you open up a piece of music, and if you see, oh, we have sharps, you can count the number of sharps, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and use this mnemonic to help you figure out what key it's in. The mnemonic goes like this. Give Dave and Ethel bad frogs. And you can count that off, counting the number of sharps. Give Dave and Ethel bad frogs. And I think I counted 7 instead of 6, but you get the idea. And so from there you can figure out what do is. So now we're going to move on to flats. Okay, so now on to flats. So you can go about evaluating keys that are represented by flats in the same way that you can evaluate keys represented by sharps. You can count the number of flats, and the number of flats will tell you what the key is in based on a mnemonic device. So if you have one flat, you're in the key of F. F is do, G is re, A is mi, B flat is fa, because the B line has a flat, C is sol, D is la, E is ti, and F is do. If you have two flats, you're in the key of B flat major, because instead of it being B major, the B has a flat, so it's B flat major. And B is do. 3 flats, you're in E flat major, with the addition of the E flat. 4 flats, you're in A flat major, because the A is flat. 5 flats, you're in D flat major, because D is flat. And then 6 flats, you're in G flat major. And there's not a 6th flat. Hold on one second. Now there are 6 flats. So the mnemonic device that I've been taught to use for flats is Freddie bought Eddie a dented gift. So if you count that off, Freddie bought Eddie a dented gift. So you open up your score, and if you see that there's flats next to the clef, you can count using the mnemonic device, and you'll figure out what key the song is in. Now, as I mentioned earlier, this technique also works for bass clef. The placement of the flats is going to look a little different, or the placement of the sharps if you have sharps next to the clef, just because the placement of notes in the bass clef is different, but the technique still remains the same. So this is sort of just a brief introduction to how you can find keys using key signatures, looking at the number of sharps and flats. Gave you a few handy mnemonic devices to use, so I hope that this is helpful. In the next video, we're going to go over some basic interval patterns, what they look like on the staff, what they sound like, and I'm going to show you a few examples of those interval patterns in actual music that we've sung before, so that way you can get more of a sense as to how sight reading with movable do works. So I hope this was helpful. I hope you have a good day.